All right, guys, thanks for coming out for the Nicheology Club level authority video flow. This is our lab, which is learn, act, or action, and bank. Now, bank doesn't necessarily mean money. It just basically means we're going to get some sort of result out of this that we're going to be able to vault. So this is the very first one of these that we've ever done. As you guys can tell that have been with me a while, we're cranking up NCL to a higher level. And I'm actually working on a framework that I may have ready this afternoon or tomorrow, and I'll send that out to you guys for your approval and to see if it's some stuff that you want to cover and want to study. All right, so authority video flow. What this is all about is just making sure that you've got a process for short videos. This isn't like a major documentary that you're making, but instead just short videos that are really designed to bring prospects, to bring clients, to bring your list, your subscribers back to you over and over again. And it just becomes part of your communication rhythm. So I'm going to show you how to make those videos fast to create, really powerful, easy for you to use. So maximum impact, maximum freedom for you, so that you're not just continually hung up with making this impact. But I like that it is about authority. It's about positioning yourself out of all the noise that's out there. And that's one of my major concerns. There is so much noise. So many people have a web page. So many people have actually a product. So many people have a Facebook page. So we've got to find a way to cut through, and brief authority videos are really good ways to do that. So let's talk about the problem. So when it comes to creating videos, one of the things is when we're trying to connect with our people every week or every 2 weeks at the slowest, how do we really make that easy? So the first thing we think is, I want to shoot some videos, but often we don't know what to say. So I'm going to give you a framework today that really answers that, makes it easy for you to do that. Now, others of us like to say everything. And we're just hitting every single thing that comes out of our mind, and we find out that, wow, I said too much. And this is all about brief videos that build your credibility, really anchor you in your target market. So that's the focus for it. Secondly, if you're not used to it, then you end up freezing. You get awkward. The video waffles some because you're stalling. Maybe, you end up getting that deer in the headlights look on camera. And so I'm going to give you a really simple cheat sheet to follow so you'll know exactly what to say, how to say it, so you'll do really well. Now, the great thing is that really everybody who's on, I can see all the names, everybody who's on right now does really well with video. And what we're going to do is even tighten that up so that even if you do freeze or you lose your place, there's a great editing way just to make sure that you just stay consistent and everything really stays natural and stays light and stays so easy for you. The other thing is we often feel like nobody's watching. So sometimes we'll get in a pattern of doing some videos, and then all of a sudden we're like, well, nobody's really paying attention. We've got to commit ourselves to this if we're going to get that long-term effect, long-term impact. So you may set you up a brand new video channel on YouTube. You may set up a new channel on your blog to make sure that everybody ends up coming in there. No hipsters, no facial hair, Big L says. So that's good. That would really be helpful for you ladies. So what we want to do as well with short videos is that people, if they get used to them, then people feel like I'm not going to be there all day. I know that this is just a 2 or 3 minute, 4 minute, max 5 minute video, and they know that they're not going to get trapped. Now, there's times we're going to do an intense teaching. Certainly, our video is going to be super long. But when we're building credibility, building authority in the marketplace, we're going to keep it super tight, super clean, and obviously super interesting. So the promise. We're going to follow a cheat sheet. Some of you have probably already downloaded that. And if you haven't, that is on the Facebook page, and it's also in the members area. So you can download that, and it's going to make it pretty easy for you to follow along with. Secondly, it's going to be natural. It's going to be what you want to do, the way that you want to do it, with the type of feeling that is most natural for you. Now, this is one of the aspects that I teach a lot with communication, is that people will come to me and say, Paul, this is what I want to be. And I can say, well, we can shape that, but for the most part, we want to use who you are, and then we want to leverage that. What we don't want to do is try to make you into something that you're not. So let's say that you're not funny. Well, I'm not going to train you to be funny. I'm going to train you to leverage funny things. So it could be a video, it could be a cartoon. You're going to leverage existing funny instead of being funny yourself. On the opposite side, if you tend to really be funny and cutting up all the time and you have a harder time being serious, it's a little bit easier to scale back on that, but you're going to probably use images. You're going to use quotes that are a lot more serious to bring the correct frame in, right? So what we want to do overall, though, is to make sure that you're feeling natural, that you're feeling like you're leaning on your strengths, leaning on your energy, and it's going to work out the best for you because you're really tying into what you want to do. You also want these videos to be short and powerful. Obviously, I like that. I think that is super important. So you got a couple of little midget wrestlers here, my people, almost my people. I'm probably closer to a dwarf than actual midget. But here you want short and powerful. You don't want anything that's super long. It's not going to be super detailed. People aren't going to have to take a ton of notes on it. They don't need to set their calendar, make sure they've blocked out 30 minutes. We want it to have a lot of punch, a lot of power, a lot of connection, so that people really feel like, okay, that was worth the time. And this is most important, I want to go farther. I want to continue to follow, or I want to take the next step that's at the end of this video, because that's one of the big keys as well. We want to make sure that we're giving them something to do, call to action, so they end up taking the next step and really become part of our circle and part of our space. So 3 hot principles as you look at making your videos. Number 1, you want to lead with a hook. Lead with something that's really going to get them right out of the gate. So the opening 10 seconds of your video, it's critical. The opening 10 to 15 seconds, you're either going to grab me or you're going to lose me. Everyone watches a video with their mouse over the X, right, over the close, and they click somewhere else if they're not interested immediately. So we watch the first 10, 15 seconds, and then we decide, should I stay, should I go? That's kind of our mindset. So in that 10 to 15, we want it to be punchy. We want it to be tight. We want to lead with a hook so that we give something that says you need to stay and watch. What we're not going to do is use the kind of old corny, hey, if you stay and watch to the end of this video, I've got something sweet for you. We don't want to do that. Instead, we want to use the content itself as the hook. So there's really 2 things. Number 1, you want to lead with who you are, what your website is, just for branding's sake. And then as quick as possible, you want to jump into the video to help them see exactly where you're going to go. So I might say something like, hey, this is Paul Evans from milliondollarkeynote.com. And today I'm going to share with you 4 ways that you can hook your audience right out of the gate. So if I say that, I've not revealed what they are. I've just revealed that I am about to hit this content. So they're either interested in that or they're not interested in that. So the hook is going to bring that interest right in the first 10 to 15 seconds, saying who you are, what you're really about for the branding's sake, and then also letting them know exactly where you're going next. Second, you want to place your product. So within the video itself, at some point, you're going to mention something about what you do. And it's really seeding for the purpose of whatever your call to action is. So that if you've got an upcoming webinar, then you want to seed your product at that time, just right in the middle. Even before you, and I'm going to show you how to do this in just a second, but even before you get to your actual teaching, you're going to seed your product, seed your upcoming event, seed your call to action, so that they understand that you've got a presence in the marketplace. They understand that you're already in the middle of working with clients, or you already have things going on. And chances are they either already know about it because they're part of your tribe, or they don't know about it. And you are giving them new information that's going to draw them in and is going to help them feel like, hey, I really need to go farther with this. So when it comes to the actual content itself, the part that you teach, it's not just teaching, you're actually seeding this and you're actually wanting them to feel a part. So I may say something along the lines of, I just got back from my $1 million keynote intensive. And we were on one of our Q&A calls right after that. And we do these each month as part of my Engage and Amplify program. And so somebody asked me such and such, such and such and such. So that can be kind of the setup. I could say, and somebody asked me, how do you really get the attention of your audience right out of the gate? So if I'm seeding and say, hey, I just got back from a $1 million a keynote intensive, and while I was there, somebody asked me blah, 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 blah. So I've mentioned an event that maybe a handful have been to, vast majority have not been to, but what have I just done? I've displayed credibility. I've displayed authority that people have signed up and actually shown up. I've displayed also authority from the positioning aspect of they're asking me the question about my area of expertise. And all of that is really just a quick seed in the middle of the video. So you're going to name drop, place either one of your products, your services, or your next step offer. So your next step offer, it could be a webinar, it could be a live event, it could be a free download. It doesn't really matter, but you're really just mentioning some of the tools. So let's say that I mentioned, I was just talking to one of my MDKers and they were using my MDK checklist. And as you probably know, it's a 39-piece checklist that allow you to really take yourself faster, farther as a speaker, but not just in speaking, but also on the business side of that. And so I might just drop that in. And then when I get to the call to action, that's when I tell them, hey, I mentioned earlier about my checklist. Maybe that's something you're interested in. Here's where you get it. So I seeded during the video. I gave them the call to action at the end of the video. Number 3 is to divide and conquer your content. Some of you guys, it's easy for you just to do the one take and that's it. But what you can also do if you're not quite as comfortable with it, and this actually makes your videos a little bit sharper. I'm not always great at doing this, honestly. I like the one take, but my videos will be a lot better if I would do the divide and conquer. And that basically means that you let the film run, and then with each point that you're making, you stop. You might break your teaching into 3 bits, let's say. And so I did my branding, my promise, and I tell them about that, and then there's a break, there's a shift, and I might use a little video to do that, and I'll show you a few here in just a second. And so I might just use a little video to shift between my sections. Then I might seed and I might teach, then there's a break, and then there's a call to action, and then there's the sign off. So all of that allows me to do one take, but even if I mess up, even if I need to look down at my iPad or my iPhone or my notes and check it out, then I can always give the appearance that it's really tight content and tight information, and I'm not stumbling around and I'm not trying to find my way. Those of us who are communicators, probably one of the number one things we're guilty of is finding our way. We make a couple of notes and we start talking, and then something hits us and we're excited about it and we let it rip. And I think even the audience can see that. They can see that, oh, they were kind of searching for what they were going to say. That was all an ad lib. Even if you're good at it, it's recognizable. So this helps keep it a little bit tight. So you can do the whole thing in a take, but there's really 3 separate looks or more of the camera. And then in between those little takes, as you cut those, then you can put a little logo animation in with it. And I do all of my editing in Camtasia. A lot of people use iMovie or use Vegas, but I just use Camtasia. Split it and just drop my little logo thing in. So let me show you some of those examples. These are not going to show up super clean, so probably what I'll do is upload them into the replay area so you can watch them again, and this audio may not be really good, but I'm going to give you 3 or actually 4 different looks. This might be the video that's my major video between my intro and my first piece of content or my first seeding. So it may be that as people come on, I go, hey, this is Paul Evans from $1,000,000keynote.com, and today I'm going to share with you boom, 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 boom. Then I play that video. Now this next video, I should have put them in better order. This might be what I close out with. This may be my very end video. So, I get done and I say, hey, if you would leave me a comment below or go to $1,000,000keynote.com, opt in. I'll send you my free 39-point checklist that's going to help you excel in your speaking. Speak with passion or just leave me a note. Boom, this video starts. Now, during the actual content itself, I've got 2 versions of this. The first one's a little bit longer. The second one's super brief, and I will use the second one in between the splits of content points. So even that's not super long, but this one is a lot shorter. So imagine if I just got done with point number 1, which is, and I'm making this up, is to be humorous right out of the gate. If you want to get your audience's attention, you got to be humorous right out of the gate. And so then that drops in. I go, point number 2, if you really want to get your audience's attention right out of the gate, not only you need to be humorous, but you also need to do X, Y, and Z. So that's just a little brief clip that I could use in between my actual points themselves. Now, let me tell you how I did these. Is I actually did those myself using After Effects. But chances are you're not doing those kind of things. So what I would do is go to a place like videojungle.net, and look around at their After Effects or their different little clips, and then go to Fiverr. And those clips will probably be anywhere from $5 to $30. You go to Fiverr and you give them that clip, you give them the audio, and you give them like your logo, like you see here, and they'll drop it all in for you for $5 to $10. So for around anywhere from $20 to maybe $30, max $50, but $10 to $30, you could have a great tight little clip in between your video portions. Okay, so here's the worksheet. And let's just step by step through this, and then we'll have time for questions. One of the things that I didn't mention is none of these trainings are going to be super long. We're not like staying on the phone all day long, but we're going to have questions at the end. So you've got your VideoFlow sheet. So as I begin, it's going to be the branding, the name of site. Hey, legend, Paul Evans here from milliondollarkeynote.com. That's it. That's going to be all that's going to be said. Your name, where you're from. Boom. And today I want to show you how to connect with your audience within the first 5 seconds of your talk. In this example, I've just got one quick deal. So imagine that you have been at Million Dollar Keynote. You come over to watch this video, or you're on my email list, you come to this video, and the first thing that it says is, hey, legend, Paul Evans here from milliondollarkeynote.com. And today I want to show you how to connect with your audience within the first 5 seconds of your talk. You either want to do that or you don't. But let's say that was all the setup, and then I send out that first video clip, the one that's the longest, just to split in between. It's got my logo, it's got the setup. That's a big shift between the opening and boom, something for real is about to happen. Something's about to come in. I just finished a 2-day MDK intensive with my Amplify members. So this is where I would seed the product, the service, or the offer. And it's kind of setting up. And while I was there, somebody asked me, boom, 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 boom. So I'm using my positioning of credibility of here's where I was, here's what I'm doing. So Kelly, may say, hey, I just got back from Beachpreneurs, and here's what we did. And somebody asked me X, Y, and Z. And so that continues to build our brand. It continues to let people know that they were not part of something. And we're not doing that to make people feel bad. We're just doing it because we're letting people know, hey, you can be part of something. If she's talking about her coaching elements, then it'd be a little bit different, because then she could say, hey, I just got off the phone with all of my coaching clients. We had a group call, and one of the most interesting questions that came in was, boom. Once again, you've showcased where people are that they're not. Or Lane may say something along, hey, we just finished our latest Scrap Happy free call, and what we did was X, Y, and Z, boom, boom, boom. Or we just got off our jet fuel and we're ramped up, and is amazing what we're able to accomplish. We're going farther than we've ever gone before. Productivity's out the door, boom, 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 boom. So you're showcasing product, something along those lines that really gives people the positioning. And then you want to leverage your authority attention method. This is what I might say to my people. So I might say you want to leverage an authority attention method. So I've named it something. I've given it a technology. I've created a system. And I may say something like this. You want to leverage an authority attention method that does 3 things. Number 1, it's going to snap the hypnosis. Almost everybody out there is just hypnotized. They are just walking through life like a zombie. And it's like they barely know what's going on. So they come into the room. Most of your audience is hypnotized just by life. We've got to snap them out of that. Secondly, your authority attention method opens the heart. That's the really big goal here, is that they've also got some barriers. They've got some locks. And what we want to do is we want to open their heart. Number 3, we want to create a trigger for their mind. We want to do something that is going to make them think about what's about to happen, or at least decide I want to make sure that I stay engaged. So we're going to snap the hypnosis. We're going to open the heart. We're going to trigger the mind. And you do that by, and then I would fill in the blank. Most likely I would talk about humor, and I might talk about self-deprecating humor, and then segue into a very serious moment. What I usually call this is the emotional gap, so that you've got them laughing and they're really excited, and then you punch them in the stomach. Because when they're really excited, all their defenses are down. They're not rock hard in their abs. They're not expecting the punch, and you punch them with something solid. So that'll snap the hypnosis. It opens their heart, triggers their mind, right? And so that's what I would teach. That's been my teaching, my point. Next is the call to action. What's the number one expectation you have for your audience right out of the gate? What do you want to happen? Are you want them to laugh? You want them to engage? You want them to sit up? You want them to be excited? You want them to have a spirit of expectation themselves, of they can't wait to hear what's next? So what this question does when you're doing this in a video, and again, we're just talking about 2, 3, 4 minutes, then you're asking them a question that they can envision, but even with your points, they can't actually complete. And so you're giving them this question, and then the next logical thing is to invite them to the next step. So I could say something like, again, this is PaulMillion-Dollar-Keynote.com. Speak with passion, or just leave me a note. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I could tell them something like that. Or I could say, if you're ready to engage your audience at a higher level, I've got a free webinar that's taking place this Thursday. Boom, boom, boom. Or if you want to be part of the next $1 Million Keynote Intensive, it's going to take place, or just check out this link. And then I don't even have to mention the date or the time. It becomes evergreen. So it's a really tight framework. All of this is a super tight framework to allow you to create some authority videos that are going to be easy for you to make once you've done this a couple of times, and easy for you to have a quick script for you to use. All right, so that is it. That's all of the elements. So any questions about anything that was covered? Did this all make sense? You got some gaps, you got some question marks, anything you need clarified, any how-tos? And was this helpful? Do you think that this process makes sense? Is going to be helpful for you? And it's only 124. That was a little longer. All right, here's a question. Let's see. How important are the flashies? I get stuck thinking that I have to put that in place before I start. You don't have to put it in place before you start. And even if, actually, you'd be great at this. You'd be super great at this. And this is Lane. I think that you've got a natural playful spirit, laughing spirit, etc. So let's even say that you do a blooper and you mess up and you get tickled at yourself. So let's say that you started out and said, hey, this is Lane from X, Y, and Z, and today we're going to do blah, 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 blah. And then there's just a clip of you just cracking up. It's like, yeah, you never mess up. She just messaged that. I never mess up. And so then you just put that little clip in of you messing up. Not long. I mean, a half a second or a second of you laughing. And that ends up being the pattern disrupt, right? Or interrupt, I guess, as it said. And it doesn't have to be a flashy logo thing. It's just you and your personality and your character. It could be anything. Let's say that you lost your notes and you're like confused about where you were, and you had actually recorded that. And so, hey, this Lane, blah, 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 no. What am I even supposed to be talking about today? Now I probably would use a little sound effect, just a little something like that you put in there. And you could record that even just with your own vocal and make that work. Lane says she likes that. Good. That would be super easy to do, a super easy way to frame that. Good. Any other questions, feedback? Before I give you an assignment. I know this isn't supposed to be part of the club. Good. All right. So go and do. Going to give you 7 days to make a 3 to 5 minute video using this format. Now, even if you don't like it, even if it's not natural for you, I want you to use it just because it gives you the opportunity just to get the feel of using a framework other than just sitting down and making a video. There's a big difference in the feel of just letting it flow from your head and letting it flow from a framework. The framework ends up being stronger. At first, it feels a little bit unnatural if you're talking all the time, but a framework ends up being stronger and it becomes dependable. People can also feel like they know what's coming, so they're comfortable, even if it's got surprises in it. All right, so I'm going to give you 7 days to do that. I'm going to go and upload this to YouTube, and then I'll place it in the members area. I'll post in Facebook as well, so you can go and check out the replay and do your assignment. Any final thoughts as we close out? Lane says good stuff. All right, go do it. As always, success is not an accident. Be blessed.